Nissan Automobile repairs. If you're looking for help fixing your Nissan Automobile, look no further. Our comprehensive Nissan Automobile repair guide will explain common issues, provide tips, and maybe show you how to repair your vehicle. Nissan manufactures cars that owners have come to trust. Even a trustworthy autos require occasional maintenance or repair. However, if you're in need of Nissan auto repair from experienced professionals, your local auto helper can help. The engine won't start. It's perhaps one of the most nerve-wracking and common engine problems. Nearly every driver has experienced that sinking feeling of turning the key and the engine failing to start is normal. You can usually conclude it's a battery problem if the engine is clicking but there's no crank. When there's a crank, but still not start, you are looking at a fuel or ignition problem. Your motor oil has a big responsibility. The oil lubricates the engine, cools engine parts, keeps the engine clean, and prevents deposit buildup. Unfortunately, even the best oil eventually degrades. When the oil becomes old, it will begin to fill with sludge and debris. This has a negative effect on your engine. When you change the oil, the contaminants are removed along with the old oil and filter. Your manufacturer will have a recommended oil change schedule, but a good rule of thumb is to have the oil and filter changed every 3 months or 3,000 miles. The catalytic converter is a vital part of your car's exhaust system. The catalytic converter breaks down dangerous chemical emissions from the engine and routes them away from the driver. Regular wear and tear will happen, but driving habits, road conditions, and vehicle type can also affect the catalytic converter. If you notice rattling during acceleration or braking or any loud noises during the drive, it's time to schedule an exhaust system check. The catalytic converter can fail due to a leak caused by rust or corrosion, or as a result of internal plugging caused by excessive carbon buildup. Regularly scheduled maintenance checks will ensure the entire exhaust system is functioning properly. Bad battery symptoms. If the cranking of the engine is sluggish, like your vehicle is harder to start on cold mornings, it starts inconsistently, or there are no sounds and interior lights when you try to start, suspect a failing battery, a loose or corroded connection, or electrical draw. A low battery that has visible corrosion on the terminals is probably damaged. If jump starting works, then you know you've got a battery problem. But you also need to figure out whether it's simply at the end of its life or there are underlying issues. A dead or low battery can be caused by a failing alternator. It can also result from additional draw from auxiliary lights, fuses, sound systems, alarms, and such. Bad alternator. Some of the things to look for are no starting and trouble starting, dimming lights, and problems with stereo system output. If your car starts but stalls when you're underway, your battery is probably not being recharged due to a faulty alternator. A squealing sound comes from the engine that gets louder when drained, like the heater or sound system is on, or might be your alternator bearings. Another telltale is turning the AM radio to a low number on the dial without music, then revving the engine. If you hear a whine or the sound goes fuzzy when you hit the gas, your alternator is probably failing. If the vehicle won't crank or start but the headlights are still working, look for problems with the starter or other parts of the engine. If you have a check engine or battery indicator light illuminated on your vehicle, it could indicate a problem with an automobile charging system. Or if your vehicle gets a jump start and immediately stops running, it could be an indication that the alternator is malfunctioning. It's important to bring this to a professional for a proper diagnosis. Bad quality oil. If you use the wrong type of oil in your engine, or your oil is simply old and has accumulated a lot of debris and dirt, then it will start to burn. More importantly, the oil won't be able to adequately lubricate the components of the engine because of its condition. This will force the engine to consume more oil. If your engine oil is dark brown or black in color, get your engine oil changed as soon as possible. It's an easy DIY job. All you need is the new oil filter, oil drain pan, car ramps, wrench, and about 20 minutes. Broken starter motor. The starter motor is responsible for cranking your engine over, which begins the starting process. When this component fails, it's usually because the electrical solenoid has been damaged. The starter motor breaks or another electrical fault occurs, like a starter relay. For example, while a starter can be replaced before it breaks, it's difficult to predict when this will happen. It's best to have a car starting inspection to determine the problem before assuming it's the starter. Worn seals or gaskets. If your vehicle has worn out or damaged crankshaft seals or valve cover gasket, then it will likely be leaking oil. Once that happens, your engine will be losing oil whenever you're driving. This means you will need to constantly top off the engine oil to avoid engine damage. If you have seals or gaskets that are leaking oil, get them fixed ASAP. Usually, it's a fairly inexpensive process that will save you a lot of money in the long run. SourceYourMechanic.com